When Mel and Peg stepped into the spotlight, no one expected their love story to unfold with such grounded charm, humor, and refreshing honesty. Their connection didn't erupt in a dramatic explosion of passion or declarations. Instead, it grew in moments of trust, shared laughter, long conversations, and the quiet comfort that only two people who've truly lived can understand. They didn't rush into labels. They didn't sprint toward a finish line. Instead, they allowed their story to breathe, and that is what made viewers fall in love with them. And maybe that's why everyone felt the moment so deeply when Mel presented Peg with a commitment ring. It wasn't a proposal. It wasn't a grand, traditional romantic gesture meant to check a box. It was their own intention, crafted with sincerity, a promise to build something at their own pace, in their own way. When asked what the ring meant to him, Mel said something that struck a chord. A ring symbolizes commitment, yes, but it's the day-to-day actions that give it meaning. A ring can't love someone. A ring can't listen, support, or stay steady through the messy parts of life. But people can, and that was what mattered to him. Showing his love, not just talking about it. Peg agreed. To her, the beauty of this relationship was the freedom to write their story without anybody else's script. They weren't 20-something contestants looking for a whirlwind engagement. They were two people in their 60s who had already experienced the heavy parts of life, raising families, building careers, facing struggles, learning hard lessons. They weren't here to perform romance. They were here to live it. "We get to write our own love story," she said, with that mix of humor and conviction that viewers instantly adored. "We've done the heavy lifting already. Now we get to enjoy the chapters we create." The calm clarity between them made their relationship stand out. They weren't searching for fireworks either. Peg even said she wasn't chasing sparks that flare up fast and disappear. She wanted the slow, steady warmth of a fireplace, the kind you build together, tending it over time, adding fuel when needed, and sitting beside it for as long as you both choose. Mel echoed that sentiment. He admitted he didn't throw around the word love casually. It wasn't a television catchphrase to him. It wasn't something he could repeat on cue just because someone else said it first. He believed in liking someone deeply before ever claiming something stronger. To him, love meant consistency, care, and action, not a fast reaction in a highly emotional environment. "Words have weight," he said. "I'd rather show love than say it before I'm ready." That honesty made Peg feel safe with him, and it made viewers trust him too. They talked openly about marriage and long-term possibilities during their overnight date, not as a requirement, not as pressure, just two adults taking the time to see if their lives aligned. They spoke about family, holidays, households, and the realities of blending two entire worlds. With that conversation, they found themselves on the same page. They were open to anything the relationship naturally led to, including engagement, but nothing needed to be rushed. "Why force something before it's time?" Peg said. "We're building something that lasts, not something that burns out." Their relationship wasn't built on fantasy. It was built on intention. And when it came to long-term plans, they had a refreshingly balanced approach. Mel lived in Southern California, Peg lived in Las Vegas. But instead of treating that as a logistical nightmare, they treated it as an adventure. They were close enough for spontaneous visits, road trips, weekends together, and a comfortable rhythm of coming and going that allowed the relationship to feel both exciting and secure. Mel joked that their travel time was nothing compared to long-distance couples who only see each other once every few months. They lived near airports. They had cars. They had the flexibility. Most importantly, they had the desire to make it work, and that makes any distance feel smaller. Peg had a philosophy she shared often. In your later years, life becomes less about choosing one option over another, your place or mine, this life or that life. Instead, it becomes about embracing the and. Her home and his home. Her traditions and his traditions. Her world and his world. They weren't narrowing their lives, they were expanding them. Their holiday plans reflected that joyful expansion. Instead of splitting decisions or struggling to choose one side over the other, they built an adventurous itinerary that included visiting both families, attending a major charity gala, exploring new cities, enjoying Thanksgiving together, celebrating Mel's birthday with a unique experience, traveling internationally for Christmas, and wrapping up with another trip for a huge annual event. Booked and busy became a charming understatement. They were excited about everything the future held, not just the big trips and celebrations, but the everyday moments too. They wanted to savor the simple joys, laughter, honesty, gratitude, and the comforting knowledge that happiness wasn't something they expected each other to deliver. It was something they brought to the relationship themselves. Peg spoke passionately about one of the biggest lessons she's learned with age. Happiness doesn't come from outside sources, not from a partner, not from material things, not from circumstances. Real happiness is internal. Someone can share your life, but they can't complete it for you. You have to show up whole. That's when a relationship becomes truly beautiful. And that's exactly how she has shown up with Mel, whole, grounded, self-aware, and ready to share her life, not hand it over. They both know that longevity in a relationship isn't accidental. It takes intention, communication, honesty, humor, and a willingness to stay open even when life gets complicated. They have all of that, and they're nurturing it every day. When they look toward the future, they don't see pressure or deadlines. They see possibilities. They see travel, holidays, shared moments, new memories, and the steady warmth of the love they're building. They're not rushing toward a label or counting down the days to an engagement announcement. They're living their relationship with purpose, appreciating every day, every conversation, every shared smile. Their story resonates because it's real, it's grown up, it's grounded, it's hopeful, it's joyful, and most importantly, it's theirs, written page by page at their pace. At a time when so many people chase instant love or dramatic passion, Mel and Peg are choosing something richer, a connection built with care, patience, trust, and genuine affection. And maybe that's why their story has captured so many hearts. It's a reminder that love doesn't expire with age. It doesn't weaken. If anything, it becomes wiser, braver, and infinitely more intentional. When you've already lived decades of life, love doesn't have to be chaotic. It doesn't have to be rushed. It can be calm and warm, like the fireplace Peg described, something steady that glows brighter the longer you tend to it.